guys, welcome back. So today we're out at the range with a very historic, iconic, and influential handgun of the 20th century. I've seen this gun brought up in the discussions of other handgun videos I've done over the years, and I figured it was about time that this little gun got its own video. The gun that I'm talking about is the Walther PP. The handgun went into German service around 1929. It was developed in the 20s, and again, this gun has influenced generations of guns after it. It has some pretty forward-thinking features, which we'll talk about here in the video. The gun is chambered at 7.65 millimeter, or we call it 32 ACP here in the United States. It holds 8 rounds in a magazine in its grip. You can top the gun off with a 9th round, and you can safely carry this handgun with a round in the chamber, which is kind of an interesting proposal for handguns of that era. Many guns were simply not safe to carry loaded with a round in the chamber with the hammer at rest forward. This gun, that's not true. This gun can actually be carried safely by simply engaging the safety on the slide, which then rotates a drum up and blocks the firing pin, so the hammer cannot physically come into contact with that firing pin, even if dropped. You can load the weapon. Has just a conventional slide on top. You can put a magazine into it, load the weapon, and safely drop that hammer on a live round. Keep it in the safe mode, put it in a holster, in a pocket, whatever, and the gun again cannot go off. You can ready the pistol for firing by simply flipping it to the fire position, and now that first shot will be double action, and then the gun will cycle, and every subsequent shot afterwards will be single action. If the gun is still loaded when you're done with your shooting, you can simply rotate that safety down and make the gun safe. You'll find this feature on the Walther P38, but you'll also find it on more modern handguns like the Beretta M9 service pistol. The handgun features a magazine release right here too, which is kind of interesting for the era. Most European designs had what we call a heel release on the magazine. This one has the magazine release up where the shooter's thumb can actually reach it. So that's another thing that's pretty interesting about the pistol. The pistol's a simple blowback design, has the recoil spring over the barrel, and again, those are design elements that were copied by guns that came later. This little pistol was manufactured by the Nazi Germany. It bears the marks of Nazi Germany on it, so I suspect this particular gun was used by border guards or police or something like that during the war. It has no import marks on it. And while we're on the subject of import marks, it's interesting to note that under the Gun Control Act of 1968, this gun was illegal for import because it was too small and too lightweight. So when they started importing these guns after 1968, they had to make a slight design change to the gun to make it a little bit heavier so they could get it into the United States. Later, even companies like Smith & Wesson started to manufacture this handgun for Walther so it could be produced and sold domestically here in the United States. Those Smith & Wesson guns, though, are of questionable reliability and quality, and you can find that out for yourself with a simple Google search, and many of those were just chambered in 380 ACP, which is more popular here in the United States than 32 ACP, which is the original chambering of this pistol. All right, so to load the weapon, I'm going to shoot it here for you guys really quick. 8-round magazine. Again, you can carry it safely with 9 rounds if you so desire. I'm going to charge the weapon. I'm going to make it safe by rotating that safety down, then putting it back in the fire mode. The first shot will be double action, and the rest of the shots will be single action. It's a very pleasant little gun to shoot. The last round, the handgun locks open. You can drop the magazine out of the pistol by hitting the magazine release. When you insert a fresh magazine into the gun, you'll notice it does not have an external slide stop or slide release. So you would put a fresh magazine into the pistol, simply pull the slide to the rear and let it go, and the weapon's ready to fire again. Decocked, and now you can actually put the weapon in a holster, and it's perfectly safe to carry loaded. Let's take a closer look at this little pistol. The Walther PP is a very easy gun to shoot. Even though it's really small, it makes for a great pocket pistol, but my pinky hangs off the rather small grip. You'll find some magazines, variations will have a pinky extension on the magazine so you can actually get a full grip onto the gun. I actually happen to like the fact that this is a flush fit magazine because the whole purpose of this gun is to be small and concealable, and when you add that pinky extension, you just increase the length of the gun and make it that much more hard to conceal. So, and it doesn't actually add an extra round or anything to the magazine. But that's true of all carry guns. I don't like the little pinky extensions in general, but it's a small, handy little gun. It's also interesting to note that this is one of the variants of this pistol, the PPK, was commonly used by James Bond in the early novels by Ian Fleming, and he was harassed for using this little diminutive handgun. But would I use this thing as a pocket carry pistol? Absolutely. Now, some of the later guns that were manufactured, like the Smith & Wessons and the 380 chambering, weren't so reliable. It was either hit or miss whether you got one that worked. But this little guy has been very reliable for me, and they were kind of known for their reliability originally. So again, it's a very pleasant little gun to shoot. Just stick an 8-round magazine into the magazine well, pull the slide to the rear, make it ready, drop it. Now it's safe, stick it in a pocket, but when you're ready to shoot, just disengage that safety and you're off to the races. As you can see, it's a flat shooting little handgun and just a pure pleasure to shoot. I just get a kick out of shooting these old handguns, guys, and collecting them. This one has special significance to me because this one does not have any import marks and is made, or was made, during World War II, and again bears those markings of Nazi Germany, making it more of a collectible piece. Here are a few of the handguns I believe the Walther PP influenced. Let's take a look at the World War II era Walther P38. This handgun in and of itself was very forward-thinking. Matter of fact, this gun has many design features that was copied by Beretta for our own U.S. service pistol, the M9. But it has the hammer drop safety mechanism of the Walther PP. So some of those design elements from the PP bled over into other German designs like this handgun. Probably one of my favorite all-time military pistols, the Russian Makarov. This happens to be a Bulgarian version. This one borrows heavily from the PP, right down to its method of disassembly with the pull-down trigger guard. It has this fixed barrel with the recoil spring over it, and even has the hammer drop safety, borrowed directly from the PP. This one's chambered in 9x18. The CZ82, another gun that was influenced by the Walther PP. This one has a double stack magazine, fires 9x18, but it has a fixed barrel with the recoil spring over it, and you also pull the trigger guard down on this handgun for disassembly. And here we have the Polish P64. Again, this is a nice small little handgun, very similar to the Walther PP. Again, has the fixed barrel with the recoil spring riding over it, and the method of disassembly is the same. Pull down the trigger guard. So as you can see, this little handgun influenced a lot of important military handgun designs of the 20th century. It's a very interesting little gun, and again, very forward thinking. Let's field strip the little Walther. Let's start off by first making sure that the weapon is clear. You can do that by depressing the magazine release button right here by my index finger. The magazine will come out of the weapon. Make sure that the chamber is clear. And now you can take the trigger guard, pull up on it, and just set it off to one side or the other. You'll see how it kind of flexes. You push it up, pick it up, you can set it on the receiver. Actually, it tends to want to stay actually a little bit to my right. Once you do that, now you can pull the slide to the rear, lift up on it from the rear, and let it come forward, and the slide will come off the frame. Here's your recoil spring, and that is all you have to do to field strip the Walther. If you're going to get into buying collectible handguns and rifles, you need to know what you're looking for. There are versions of the Walther, for example, that don't command the same price as other versions. This one happens to be a World War II era manufactured gun. It has the proof marks on it and the serial number I confirmed before I purchased the handgun on Gunbroker. And that's where you're going to have to go to find collectible firearms like this. I really have no interest in modern versions of the Walther PP and PPK and PPKS and all the other variants. I have no interest in those. I just have interest in the original military firearms. And the reason I'm interested in them is because, first of all, they are an investment. Guns like this command a high price and they only get more valuable. But I also like to look at the technology and to use that technology to understand how it influenced future designs of firearms. So again, if you're going to get into collecting these things, be careful, don't overspend, know what you're shopping for, make sure you study the firearm that you're bidding on Gunbroker, for example, before you click the bid button, because it's very easy to overpay for guns that simply have no collector's value. And a lot of people just assume that just because it's a Walther PP, it's highly collectible, but you know, certain markings will make it much more collectible. You just need to know what you're shopping for. Putting the gun back together is a simple process of reversing everything that we did to take it apart. Take your recoil spring, slide it over the barrel. Put the recoil spring inside, line up the barrel with the opening in the slide. Draw this to the rear. This one's a little bit old, so it keeps popping back. But once you get the slide on, the trigger guard will pop back into place, locking everything together, making it impossible to pull the slide upwards in its full rearward position, and the gun is reassembled. You can decock it by simply rotating that lever down, and again, you can safely do that with a live round in the chamber. Well guys, it's time to wrap things up for this afternoon, and I hope you enjoyed coming out to the range with me to do a little bit of shooting with my World War II era Walther PP. If you guys have classic firearms you'd like to see featured here on the channel, I may have them, but in many cases I don't. I see a lot of really cool comments about guns I'd love to own and shoot, but go ahead and comment down below. You might be surprised what I actually do own, and also you guys might be surprised because of your comments it's actually caused me to go out and look for guns to purchase to add to my collection. I'd like to thank you guys for watching all these years. It really does mean a lot to us here at the Military Arms Channel. If you would like to further support the Military Arms Channel, you can do that by swinging by and checking us out at Copper Custom. That's our online store. Also, if you haven't already, please swing by and check out full30.com. That's full30.com. We've taken all the web's best firearms content creators and brought them under one roof, and that is full30.com. Thanks for watching again, guys. We really do appreciate it, and we will talk to you guys soon. Now to touch off these last 8.32 ACP rounds, pack up and head home. It's the saddest part of the day. Thanks for watching, guys.